I'm Melanie Johnson, along with my co-host Jen Foster. We are both 13-time best-selling authors. We've published over 2,500 books and made all of our authors #1 bestsellers. We own Elite Online Publishing. If you want to become a best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Now, welcome to the podcast that shares secrets from top industry experts that show you how to get lasting success and results. This is the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson. Welcome back for another fabulous podcast. I have a super special guest today. She's close to my heart. She has been my coach for years. Just love her. And we're way overdue in having her on today. So I'm going to give you just a little taste. She is, if you're feeling like you have some self-doubt going on, some self-sabotaging, some self-doubt, some anxiousness, some stressfulness, which I think a lot of people are having that. And plus, she's just a great strategic coach. Well, we're going to dive into all of that, and you're going to learn so much today. I just love her, Marge Fajardo. But first, I want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast, okay? Because we always inspire you, motivate you, and educate you. And share it with your friends. Please leave us a comment and tell us how much you like us or if we can do anything to improve. And if you're looking to become an author, and you're thinking about writing a book, please contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Hit the submission form there. We don't take everybody, but please submit to us and we'll see if you're a good fit for us. All right, let's get started. Marge is just one of the most wonderful people I love in the world. She helped me through some of my toughest times in my life. Marge, thanks so much for joining us on our podcast today.
Well, it's my honor to be here. I love working with you. You're just like one of the most fun people I know. So it's great to be here today.
So you've gotten more into the mental fitness space, and I've not heard it called mental fitness before. So tell us, how did you get into mental fitness, and what exactly is that? How do you define that?
So, as you know, I've been coaching for 23 years. I've had over 2,000 clients from all over the world, from North America to Europe to Japan to Australia. And I was honored to work with the world-known Tony Robbins and to be an executive coach for the Center for Creative Leadership, which is one of the top executive education programs in the world. And throughout my years, I had a lot of certifications and there are many tools to use with clients. And in 2015, I became familiar with this life-changing mental fitness program. And I knew deep down that this was the super tool that could help clients overcome many of their personal challenges. And, my focus has been on helping coaching clients become mentally fit, to face situations in their lives or when they wanted to reach dreams that they thought they would never achieve. So people come to me when they're feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, when they're feeling self-doubt, or when they feel like the imposter, the imposter syndrome. Yeah. So I help them feel more empowered, light, happier, calm, more centered, and confident. And that's what mental fitness does for you. So my goal has always been to help my clients learn skills that they can utilize throughout their lives to continue to become more mentally fit so they can continue to grow and achieve and be happy.
So, to me, when you use that word fit, it's like I'm going to the gym, right? I'm going to do certain exercises. I've got to practice certain things to be fit, and I have to do it on a regular basis. Is there like a routine, a mental fitness routine or strategies that you use on a regular basis for a lot of your clients?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that because this program that I'm involved with actually has an app that's part of it. And you get exercises on it every day. And as you do the exercises, what I love about it, I love measurement. So what I love about it is it measures a muscle. So there's saboteurs that we have that, hold us back. And then there's sages that we have that actually counteract our saboteurs. And that's the muscle that we want to build up so that we become Jedi warriors of our own lives.
How do you identify the sages?
Well, the sages, first of all, we work with the saboteurs because the saboteurs are so unconscious and they So a common saboteur is like being a victim. That's an example of a saboteur. Research shows that we're our own worst enemies, and that the mind harbors characters that actively sabotage our happiness and success. And so once we become aware of those and the messages that we're getting from them, then, and we can easily identify them, then we can actually develop sage skills to counteract them. But first of all, we have to become aware of them because they're so unconscious. And the interesting thing about saboteurs is all of us have them, and they developed when we were children. And actually, if you go way back, they developed when we humans were at a lesser form, when we basically had our limbic brains. And you know, the fight, flight, or freeze response that we have. So our limbic brains, like when the leaves would shake on the bushes, our limbic brains would say, you know, let's get out of here. Let's fight, fight, or freeze. And we still have that brain, and it gets activated. And it becomes our master saboteur is called the judge. The judge asks questions like, what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong with you or that other person? Or what's wrong with this situation? And that's what automatically comes up first. And so when you can identify that it's the judge or one of the other saboteurs that are getting in your way of happiness or forward momentum, then you can actually, you know, stop it, label it, and then do some exercises to help yourself move into a more sage place.
That's so true. I mean, a lot of times I think in relationships, people get blocked, like if they've been heartbroken, not going into new relationships and trying to peel back the layers of why am I afraid to do that? Or if it's in business, you're not as successful because maybe you reach a certain level and then something's stopping yourself from being more successful or getting more of what you want in life, no matter what category it's in.
That's true. And that's because there's these unconscious beliefs that we have that's holding us back, and we don't realize they're unconscious because we haven't paid attention to them. And they're so tricky because it's like they pretend that they're helping us. So one of my saboteurs, my top saboteur, is called the high achiever saboteur. And what that saboteur does is it tries to make me do things better, and let's get this a little bit better, and let's work really hard on this. And the way it sabotages me is, first of all, whenever you start anything, you know there's going to be glitches, right? It always happens. And so my high saboteur then gets my high achiever gets really stressed. And that actually pulls me back from being my best self. And so if I realize that's not me, that's my high achiever that's acting up, then I can put a sage power in place to overcome that high achiever. It's pretty interesting. It's been a life-changing thing for me.
So give us an example, since you gave us the example of what you had, what would be the sage power that would help to overcome that?
Well, an example of a sage power might be asking the question, what's the gift in this? Or what can I learn from this? And so you become more curious. Instead of beating yourself up, which is typically what we would do, you would be more curious and would say, okay, since this happened, what doorway is it open? Or what window is it opening for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that then gives us the opportunity to think outside our own box.
What if you get too afraid to do it? Like you say, like, I want to be that high achiever and I want to get there. And then it's being the saboteur. And then you're asking the questions, but you're just like, I don't know, like my fear is so great. I just don't want to have that extra achievement. Or how can you break past that?
That's where you're living in your head. And your head combined with your heart has the answers. So you actually have to move out of your head and those thoughts that are underneath and move more into your heart and into your wisdom of knowing, really knowing who you are and knowing the great person that you are. So here's the deal. I bet 80% of the population does not really realize how great they are. And then when they don't, then they act out. I mean, it's so weird how when we don't realize our own greatness and we don't act from our own greatness, in actuality, we act from the lowest possible, level that we could be at.
Yeah.
So yes, developing that sage actually helps you to be in that wise place. Yeah.
Really
it's cool.
having that confidence, because the world is always trying to cut you down in different ways. Like you say, you try and live in that greatness, saying, okay, I believe I'm great. I believe I'm talented. I believe I'm all these things. And then someone in your family tells you, you're such an idiot, or why do you screw up like that? Or this didn't happen, or we made a mistake like we normally do. And it's trying to keep that confidence level up, is going back to do those fitness tricks. What other things do you have for us to help build up your mental fitness?
So we use a process called PQ reps. So PQ stands for positive intelligence, and it's PQ actually is the percentage of time your mind acts as your friend rather than your enemy. So PQ measures your mental fitness. And actually, using this app, you have access to this. So what percentage of the time is your mind serving you rather than sabotaging you? And this is all based on research. It combines breakthroughs in 4 areas: positive psychology, neuroscience, cognitive psychology, and performance science. So this research shows us that our minds are our own worst enemies. And so when we develop our sages, so let me just do a simple exercise for you. And that might be if you take these 2 fingers.
Let's do 2 index fingers.
Just take 2 fingers and just put them together with the as hard as you would need or as soft as you would need to feel the ridges on the other finger.
Okay.
Just totally paying attention to the ridges.
So you're just rubbing your fingers together and feeling the ridges in your finger.
Yes. And as you do this for even 15 seconds, what you're doing is you're getting yourself out of your mind that's rushing, and you're moving yourself to a more centered place where your sage, you can start to hear your sage voice.
I love that. We've done, I just did a podcast where they were talking about meditation, and they say, meditation's not for everyone. It's pick that spot on the wall or on the floor and look at it and focus. And anytime you get a thought to bring it in, where this was, you're actually focusing on doing something and your body is moving and you're feeling it while you're breathing. It has a different effect, right? Versus like,
Right.
I'm trying to block out all my thoughts. I'm supposed to have a blank mind. And I love meditation, but it is difficult sometimes to just like empty your mind. But when you're doing that activity, it was really helpful.
Well, in actuality, we have people that are mindfulness and meditation teachers that actually come to this program, because usually when you do mindfulness or meditation, you actually have to take a period of time, like 20 minutes or a half hour or something that you dedicate just to this. Whereas this practice, there's many more things rather than just doing your fingers together, but there's many more things that you can do on the spot. So for instance, you're going to have an important phone call, and now you want to get yourself at your top, so that you're totally present and with the phone call. And instead of thinking, oh, what could happen? Or what if I don't get the contract or whatever, you are totally with the other person. So you do some PQ reps, they're called PQ reps. And what you do is you kind of get yourself more centered. And from that place, then you can speak your truth. You can be the best person that you are, and you can overcome those other voices that are saying, oh, what if you screw up,
I remember, gosh, it's been over 6 years now, when Jen and I did our first book writing retreat. We weren't even really business partners yet, but we were doing this event together, which kind of kickstarted our business. And I had told you, I want to be in alignment with Jen when we do this. I don't want her and I to feel like we're in competition with each other because we're both running this together. And you had walked us through this process, and it has stuck for 6 years that we've been in business, that we always feel like we're on the same team, we're in alignment, and it's this peaceful journey that we have going together.
Yeah. And when you talk about that, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because teams, this is very valuable for teams.
Yeah.
Because often you're right. Oftentimes in teams, people are trying to get some attention, and they're really not about the whole team. They're about making themselves look good on the team. And so when this is an excellent tool for teams to use so that they actually get more in the flow with each other. And actually, they can also then, in addition to their own individual saboteurs, they can also identify what the team saboteur might be, or what the organizational saboteur might be. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
So it's not just for the individual. I think that's an aha moment for me. It's not just something an individual can do. You can do it as a company, as a team, partnerships, even husbands and wives, or parents and children could do it together.
Absolutely. So my husband and I will do this, and, like he might say something, or I might say something, and we'll go, oh, that's not you. That's your perfectionist saboteur. And, when you can separate yourself from your saboteur, then it becomes an amazing thing. Then you don't become the problem. You then become the solution to overcoming the problem.
It's almost like blaming it on somebody else, right? It's like, oh, that wasn't me.
Well, because that
guy, that comes out and lives with me,
Yeah, because it really isn't you. It isn't the authentic you. It's the part of you that's trying to protect you. So like when you were a child, one of the things that you tried to do is, no matter how wonderful the home was that you came from, everybody develops saboteurs. So maybe you were the kid that when you brought your report card home, you got paid for A's. So maybe that developed in you the belief that in order for you to be loved, you needed to please other people. And so you bring that into your adult life, and you keep trying to please people. And what you actually do is you burn yourself out. And not only that, you actually disconnect from who you are and what's important to you, because you're looking outside yourself for validation. Now, you see, as a child, that was a belief that you developed that at the time it served you so that you would feel safe and secure and loved. But as an adult, it no longer does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. And I even remember, you were my coach during my whole divorce time. And I remember parts of me came out that I was like, who was that? Put that genie back in the bottle. Like,
right.
I don't know who that person was. Like, where did that come from? That certain triggers or anger or things come out and you're like, that was not me. Whoa. And that can happen. Like you say, and it's a protective mechanism, whether it's, fight or flight. It's like you do what you have to do to protect yourself sometimes, even though it might be hurting you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and when you go through something like that, that is when the saboteurs run crazy. They absolutely run crazy. They go from, trying to be a pleaser to feeling like a victim to, maybe being a high achiever to maybe being an avoider.
Yeah.
Let's just avoid this. I went through a divorce too, and I remember thinking, I do not want to figure out my budget. I do not want to do this. So we can, figure out who gets what. I don't want to. I'll tell you what, if I had known all this stuff a lot earlier, I would have saved myself a lot of pain.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. The smarter you get. And, I think sometimes we experience pain because otherwise we wouldn't learn, right? We learn more when our back's against the wall than when we're having something successful, right? If you're, we'll stick with the marriage thing. If you're having this successful, wonderful relationship, you're not forced to find out what makes a great relationship, what your saboteurs are, who these other personas that you have that exist to protect you. You do a lot of self-evaluation when things happen. Even if your business, like people have gone through all these upturns in their business with COVID, that now they're having to say, well, do I still even want to be in this business? How do I make my business more successful? You're turning everything around and having to reevaluate everything.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that just for a minute. How do people keep mental fitness when they're going through a huge tragedy or stress with company, family, etc.?
So that's where your PQ reps come in. Mm-hmm. Where you, when you use the app and you have a guided short PQ rep activity, mm-hmm. where you take a break, and actually the app has times throughout the day where you actually take a break during the day, and then at the end of the day you do a kind of an overall, and I'm talking about not taking more than 15 minutes out of your day throughout the day to do this. At the end of the day, then you do a journal entry, mm-hmm. and you just use your phone and you just do a journal entry, and kind of like, what's the learning? And that's where you step back and you go, oh wow, and that's kind of when it pulls everything together for you. Or if it doesn't quite, then you can just ask yourself a question, and by asking yourself a question, that's when a new answer comes out. And then also as part of, so one of the services that I offer is this program, this 7-week program. And it involves a weekly meeting with a group of 2 to 5 other people where I lead the group, and then it's called a pod. And you learn that you're not the only one, that this is like part of the human condition. And mm-hmm. that's kind of empowering too, to know that, wow, I'm not the only one. This is normal, but it feels natural, but it doesn't have to define my life. I actually have to reclaim my life by being more aware of these voices and the saboteurs.
So that's I think the ROI on the whole thing is that you get clarity, you get peace, and you've learned how to control those things to get success in life and business and family and relationships with all of that.
Absolutely. It creates a whole new paradigm
mm-hmm.
By which you can live your life that puts you in charge of your life, mm-hmm. Where you can actually choose. So let me give you another example. My high achiever, if I'm running a little late, what will I do? I'll skip a meal. And instead of taking care of myself, I'll skip the meal. Instead, mm-hmm. becoming aware of that, I would either make sure that I have an alarm or something set so that I actually do get some kind of a meal, so that I don't, go off and be in a place where my energy is low because I don't have any food. Yeah. Or I say to myself, wait a minute, I don't need an hour to do this. I need 15 minutes of food and 30 to 40 minutes of preparing for this. So because my high achiever can make me really anxious about the preparation period, I often skip taking care of myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's coming up with new strategies to make sure that you can take care of yourself or do what you need to do. instead of skipping it over. I'm so guilty of that too. Oh, I woke up late. I'll just skip my workout today. Don't have time for that now. Instead of trying to say, well, just do a 5-minute workout so you have something.
You are so right.
Yeah. This has been so wonderful, Marge. Thanks for coming on our show today. And tell us where people can reach out, and tell us the name of the app. We keep saying the app, but we don't say the name of it. So give us the name of the app.
The app comes, it comes through me. So you have to access it through me. And if people will just send me an email, I can either work with them one-on-one, or I can put them into a pod and work with them as a group. And I'm offering a 20 to 30 minute free session for them to just get a sense of, what would work for them, and if we would work together well. They can email me at mfajardo@keyresults.net. So that's M, F as in Frank, A, J as in John, AR, D as in delicious, O, at keyresults with an S.net, N-E-T.
All right. And we'll put that in the show notes as well, so people can reach out to you. All right.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much. So remember to subscribe to our podcast. And if you want to write a book, make sure you contact us at Elite Online Publishing. And we'll see you next time right here for another great show. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.